Well, that's clear. That's exactly what we've seen on Friday, right? So Friday, I took a short play, and we'll get into it, right? But like we identified open print over here. Spy defended it, relatively well. So once again, what I'm doing here. Oh, this was a perfect example here, right? Let me just make this bigger. So this was a perfect example of how we like to identify market conditions, right? So we have open print over here at 414.19. This is a bunch of chop right here. This is extreme mess. This is just tons of different chop that I want to avoid. So price rips past open print, and this actually looks somewhat bullish at the moment, right? But as price rips into 414 46, I'm being patient. I want to see more acceptance above this level. Not only that, I use QQQ to help me kind of paint market conditions as well, because QQQ was also touching a critical level. So I had in my mind, I'm like, listen, if we can, if sellers can show up here, what does that look like? Right? And we had a massive move down to end of day and previous day low. QQQ was super high above end of day, right? So I kind of use that as well to be like, okay, what would a short play look like right here, right? We had this massive move down on both. This is the HPT pattern I love, right? So this right here comes right into the high, break below. We come up for this retest at open print, right? I missed this trade. Price then fell, broke structure, and that's just what I love about structure right there, man. When you see structure break, right? Like it just really paints a picture for me. And then price comes up, and you can see it breaks bullish structure but forms bearish structure. Right? And this is what I love about that whole present moment price action theory is like I'm not letting any other level get in my brain right now. Only thing I'm looking at is what's in front of me. Price rips right into this level, take the market short, put my stop about 25% away from my entry because the way this day was moving and ripping, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna put in that 25%, which would have probably brought it way up here. But basically what I'm trying to do is prevent myself from getting like demolished on the trade. And but at the same time giving it room to breathe. And then this trade actually it felt like an eternity, and sometimes it does, right? Like I mean, look, price rips down almost $1, then rips right back up $1, then rips down, $1.50, then rips back up $1, right? So it's like this is extremely taxing on your brain, right? This is like the equivalent to, like your emotions are going super high, super low, super low, super high, super high, super low. Right? Because like right here, you're up like 40-50%. You're happy. Then right here, you're maybe up, 15%, right? So it's very important. I know we talk about it and it's easier said than done to not watch P&L, but if you are going to watch it, just be aware that this is going to take some time to create itself, right? I had end of day as my target, missed it by about a couple cents here, and then but as this was happening I was watching QQQ and I'm like, okay, this was kind of guiding me. We came into open print on QQQ and look at the buyers that stepped up there, right? So this was very like contradicting because SPY was below open print, Q's was above it. I just made the decision and went for it and then put my stop in, and then we ripped right into low of day. I ended up getting out of the trade right around here, believe it or not. Got scared, and then price ripped above end of day, and then continued to sell off. Right, so it was definitely taxing on the brain.
You know what's so crazy about this price action on QQQ on the side, on the right hand side, which I always love to see, is like when we're consolidating in the middle at the beginning of the day like that, and it's just shot back and forth. I always like to think about the buyers who are accumulating on the bottom side of the consolidation, and then the sellers accumulating at the top side of the consolidation. And when you break out of the bottom side, all of those buyers are stopping out, which fuels that more aggressive move to the downside. And then ultimately, it was a fake out, and large money just wanted to push price
Yeah.
higher, and so they just stopped out all of those rushed buyers. So you figure out where they're going to stop out, and then it reversed to the upside. Now, I did not take that trade. but I always just love watching that. And whenever you get consolidation like that, you don't necessarily sell off. You kind of
Right.
wait for that retest to that area, and you can see when we came back to retest it right there
Yep.
where you have price gets invalidated, and then bam,
Yeah.
goes higher.
Yeah.
Boom.
This is usually a clear signal to hopping along, right? And it's and
Long or short, depending on what happens right there.
exactly. And that's the definition of being present, right? Like we don't know what's going to happen. We could only assume it's going to sell off, right? But when it doesn't, and it does reverse and it does rally, right? It's just being there to in that moment and be like, okay, whatever happens at this moment is going to give me that picture, right? And I found, trading that way is definitely it's just definitely helped me. Like it gets rid of a lot of anxiety, right? Because I don't know how the day's going to play out. I really don't, and I don't even want to know, right? Like that's why, like you guys can see, my pre-market plans are very simple instructions of how to trade critical levels, right? If this level is defended, I'm looking for this. If this level is defended, I'm looking for this. I find the more simple you can approach the day, right? And I'm not saying don't plan. I'm not saying don't look at it, right? I'm just saying keep it simple. Where's your levels? And what will it look like if respected or not respected? And it really helps me remember that, I don't know what's going to happen. All what I can do is trade the present. And you can see this week we had a lot of different. I mean, look at this right here on Spy. This day right here, 1024. I mean,
Oh, I love this thing.
dude, this is a beautiful example of how to learn to trade the story. Um, I mean, open print over here, 42264. I actually took the market short here, anticipating a sell off down to end of day. Now, going forward, I may wait for open print to be like defended before taking the short play. This is what I call getting a little fancy. Um, took the market short here, stops in. I had a beautiful entry on it, so I did not get hurt. And that's the importance, right? Is like we're not going to be right all the time, right? It's like this game is literally flipping a coin. Um, each trade is not that significant. Just put your stops in. But look at how open print defended. I mean, once, twice, three times, four times. Um, this right here was bearish structure forming. And now this is another thing I want to touch on, right? Because this, let me see here real quick. This ripped right in the previous day high. This is actually a perfect example. So at what point do I change my mentality from bullish to bearish, right? Because we were able to get in short right here and catch an amazing move to the downside. So it's like, at what point were we able to see that, right? And I mean, open prints established 42264. Price comes down, I go short, get stomped out, whatever, and then I find a lot of buying here at the open. So I avoided making any moves here. I didn't really, I didn't like risk reward at this point. Um, Previous day high was up here at 42442. That's not even a dollar away. So I wasn't really willing to put any risk on the table at this point. But one thing I was open to was watching if market conditions can be invalidated or changed or shifted. And that's exactly what we were able to see here. I mean, the 2 minute highlights it perfect. Price comes up into that level, and I believe at this time Q's was doing around the exact same thing, ripping past previous day high. But once again, there's large money accumulating liquidity above a premium level, comes back down for the retest, right? And it's really important just to remember and flesh out real quick. Large money makes money when we lose. Okay, they need the majority of the market to go long or short, and then they then go the other direction, right? I just want to remind everyone this is zero sum game. For one person to win, one person has to lose. So with that understanding, this sort of behavior makes a lot more sense. Does this mean don't take longs above a critical level? Absolutely not. All what I'm saying is be aware and be ready for price to then invalidate the critical level, come up for that retest. And then, this is when I was willing to take the market short, and then price just continuously sold off right back down. My first target was open print. Um, I mean, beautiful trade here. And then you can see price rips right back into 4235 and then starts to really sell off deep. So this was a great trade. We missed end of day here. Um, and that's just part of the game, right? I mean, look at the game. Yeah, like that's insane. But
I like that we both traded this. Like I also went short this day, but basically we traded the same direction. But you got in much earlier than I did. But basically what I saw was there's a price right around 42325 where buyers at
yes.
that point, that's where we broke out of that consolidation earlier, where buyers were
Oh,
in control.
yes.
So like right at that level is where we kind of like somebody stepped in there to break that structure that was forming, that chop. So now I want to wait to see what happens that level going forward. So either that's going to be defended if we come down to retest it, or if it's not, and we get a retest from the bottom side, that's going to be confirmation to go short. Basically, those buyers are no longer valid, and now we're good to go for that gap fill. And then that was the perfect retest that it gave me later in the day to enter that trade short. Um, and it's just there's just multiple ways that you could have traded this, but those are like little clues that I look for in price action. Like try to spot the exact price where we break structure, and then use that going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's perfect. And that's just, and once again, that's the like pinnacle of the strategy is using levels. We don't always know what they're going to be, and that's what keeps you in that present, though. That's what keeps you like not in the tunnel vision, right? Because like I've been talking a lot about tunnel vision lately, and like basically tunnel vision's your mind constantly trying to predict what's going to happen. It's constantly trying to be ahead of the curve. It's constantly trying to prepare yourself for good scenario, bad scenario, this, that, and the third, right? And you're constantly assessing the situation. And what happens is when you get tunnel vision, you can't see stuff like this, especially when you're in the trade, right? How many times we put on a trade, stomp out quick, or get scared and take profit, and it's like, dude, once you get out of the trade, it's like your eyes just open. And really, what's happening is your level of consciousness is getting higher and heightened because you're no longer afraid, right? So it's like that the way one of the main ways I try to stay out of tunnel vision is like I'll be on the 2 minute and I'm just watching price. And what I do is I go, okay, that's it. This level is important, right? We don't know until it happens, right? I'm like, okay, that level is important. Like Darren said, this level break below it. This is where buyers invalidated a bearish little structure forming, right? So that's significant. Boom, rips. Okay, now this level is important. It's previous day high. Oh, invalidated, right? So now what this is doing is shifting my brain. So now on the way down, I'm going, okay, my first targets on this short are obviously 42384, so on and so forth, right? So I'm going, okay, what do I need to see here to stay in the trade? That's what's going through my brain. I'm like, what do I need to see here to stay in the trade? Oh, we just sold off below it, breaking bullish structure. Okay, so now, even though price rallies above it, this is still showing weakness, right? Anything that's not clean cut structure is getting weaker, right? This being clean cut structure, right? This is break, retest, break, invalidation. Okay, so it's getting weaker, and then once again, that same level ends up being a major stomp out point for buyers, fueling a massive move to the downside. And now I'm like, okay, I'm now looking for open print. And now what this does is helps you because so the way I actually traded this, I stayed in this all the way to the pullback. Now, I'm not telling you guys to do this. I'm just currently in a part in my trading journey where I'm trying to master the fear of getting out of trades early. So when I'm up already almost $2, I understand there's gonna be a pullback, right? But that doesn't mean bearish conditions are gonna change, right? And I've been really trying to flex this muscle lately. So it's like when the market looks something like this, I'm like, okay, this is bearish structure. So according to my strategy, we can come up and retest this and still be bearish, right? So I'm like, I'm not going to just get out of the trade. I mean, obviously, there's nothing wrong with taking profits at open print down here. There's nothing wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with any of that. But I'm just trying to push myself to conquer a fear, right? So, and I'm going, okay, we have this massive downside potential. This is still bearish, right? Like, I'm okay with a retest at this level. And you can see, right? So instead of looking for a reason to get out, I'm going, I can add here, right? So once again, right? Like, push yourself to do something different. Um, and what this does though is helps me stay like, hey, conditions are bearish, right? And this gives less significance to what's happening, right? Like the PNL, the profit, right? A great way to do it is to scale out. That's one of the main things I do, right? Price comes down, scale out of the trade, or scale in, right? But I'm just trying to get away from taking profits so fast, or like I'm just trying to de-energize the belief of needing to get out of the trade for comfort. And like that's what I meditate on, right? Like I meditate on this. I meditate on this scenario a lot, right? Where I'm up, 120, 30%, and then price reverses and I give back 50% and then price continues to go, right? So it just once again, if we want different results, we must change the way we think and act, right? Until we change, nothing's actually going to change. So,
Yep.
I'm just trying to
Another thing which helped me this day put on this trade is the longer you can stay out of the market and stay present perceiving price action, the more you're going to perceive it objectively. Because if you're messing around with trades, getting stopped out, you're starting the day, from a little bit of a deficit. You're going to be more susceptible to revenge trading, and we've said it in the past. Um, you only get you only get dumber when you enter a trade, or you only make worse decisions when you enter a trade,
Yep.
because now your emotions are involved. So the more you can separate your emotions and perceive that price action completely objectively, the smarter decisions you're going to make. So if you mess around and you stop out a couple times, you're hindering your ability to objectively perceive price action. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, the longer you can stay out of a trade, the better you're going to be able to perceive what's actually happening in the market, and then you put on your move. I'm not saying just look at price action all day and take a move, but rushing is not going to help you here, especially on a day like that.
Yeah, that's where just letting structure form, really just been simplifying it. Um,
Yeah,
the next day right here, or hold on, what day am I on? Oh, and then one more thing I want to point out here is how we then come back into open print, and then you get a perfect battle here. I mean this was subject for short play all day, but like once again, right? What's price actually telling you? We can't make a lower low. We can't break bullish structure. I mean, considering it looks like this. Just once again, right? Like using the level to highlight conditions. I know a few traders took this long. That's a beautiful play right there. Right? That's the definition of present moment price action, right? Is going, okay, we're ripping into a critical level. Does this look weak? No. Okay, going long, right? So and then it went right up there. So it was really
yeah,
really
like that with me towards the end of the day with futures.
yeah, perfect. All right, so now let's break into Thursday real quick. Thursday, this day was this was a very good day. I want to highlight something that happened to me though. So this is gonna happen too, right? Like it's just part of the game. I had okay, so my idea here was opening below previous day low and end of day was extremely bullet or bearish. I had low side targets of let me show you guys real quick. Oh, so we didn't have really any. They dated super far back, but anyways, that's not what I want to highlight. What I want to highlight is price comes right into previous day low, right? Now, once again, using that open to paint a picture, using previous day high to paint a picture, right? So price rips into previous day low, end of days up here, right? So we didn't quite hit it. Now, just like Darren was talking about before here, you don't have to put on a trade immediately, right? Let this unfold a little bit. And that's what the open's been doing for me. I actually took the trade short right here on this candle at 936 and got stomped out
Ooh.
right above it. Yeah, it's part of the game. It definitely hurt a little bit. Once I got stopped out, I was 100% sure it was going to tank, but I didn't just re-enter. And this is what I'm proud about. I want to highlight is we're gonna be in tough scenarios, right? Tough meaning we went short and just missed a $2 move, right? Two and a half. Now, instead of just hopping back in and rewarding undisciplined behavior, right? I was able to step away from the market because I mean this was a beautiful spot to re-enter, and I'm not saying don't re-enter, but like Darren was talking about, taking a step back, letting the day play out. I identified this level over here at 415.92. Definitely had some value. Then price rips right back up into open print, and this has been my money. This has been my money move lately. Now, I just want to highlight something. Notice we're way below end of day. We're still below previous day high, so I cannot be bullish on open print yet, right? I can't. Um, I want to see something happen at this level for me to put on a short, right? And trade with conditions. So price came up, invalidated open print. I put on the short here and had a phenomenal trade to the downside. So I just want to once again, you're gonna find yourself in hard scenarios, right? This isn't this is it's gonna happen. The goal here is to not get tunnel vision, to step away, right? To be like, okay, if I am I susceptible to revenge trading right here, right? If revenge trading is something you're dealing with, do everything not to revenge trade, right? Like if you get stomped out right here by a couple pennies, that's just that's that's what are you gonna do, right? Find the next best move, right? And I wanted to see what happened on the open print retest if that was gonna happen, and it did. And another reason why we get these retests at open print is the volume that goes into the opens extremely high, right? So I want you guys to look at it like there's still a lot of money or market orders at this level. There's a lot of limit orders at this level. This is why we see so many retests at these levels, right? Especially previous day high, end of day open, right? All these levels get hit because of the amounts of volume and leftover orders at this level. And what I mean is there's a lot of people that at 6 p.m. are looking at the market. There's a lot of like hedge funds, right? And they're like, oh, we want to buy X amount of the S&P 500 at whatever yesterday's close was, right? And that's why price will gravitate to this level. Same with the open. Um, so with that understanding, right? There's nothing wrong with being like, okay, I'm all right with waiting for the retest at one of these four levels. And if and when we do come back up to that level, I'll put on a phenomenal move, right? And all I need to do is be able to understand what's happening at this level. And this one was really good. Once again, HPT pattern at a critical level, go short, stop above this level, and then take her down, right? And then it was pretty much just nasty sell-offs all the way into the bottom. And once again, using that structure to be like, what do I need to see to get out of this trade, right? Like, what's going to invalidate the bullish or bearish conditions? And especially around 11 o'clock, right? Like, afternoon session is usually when the shift may happen. And then you can really capture some large moves to the downside. So that was once again just and then look, it came back and retested another level. So just seeing that
This day is a perfect example. This day is a perfect example of not acting out of desperation. Like
yeah.
if you missed this sell off at 9:45
Yeah.
and you waited until you got a retest, that is the essence of not acting out of
Yeah.
desperation. Because just like you said, if you missed it and now you're going short, that's rewarding. That's
Yeah.
rewarding behavior that you don't want to reward.
Exactly.
And you have to be okay with accepting the fact that this trade got away from you if it never does a retest.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have to not be beating yourself up about that at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And I had no guarantee that this would come back and retest because I missed it too. I just it sold off really
Yeah.
quickly,
Yep.
and I don't think this day I was even like able to trade. I wasn't like right by my computer at this time, and I only came back to the market when I saw us ripping up here. On the 2 minute we saw whatever this is, 7 green candles in a row, not a single red one, and I still was looking to go. I was still bearish, and I was still looking for a good entry. And as soon as I saw that bearish engulfing candle at like 10:54, that's when I was in this trade.
Yep.
Easy stop. My stop was previous day high. Sorry, my stop was high of day, which was 417.30, and that's just a beautiful setup for me. But that's because I was completely okay not taking a trade that day. If it kept on selling off, I wasn't about to rush it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, desperation is going to keep you in that tunnel vision, right? And it's like, obviously we don't want to be desperate, right? Like, why does it happen? And it's like, for you to get out of that mentality, you must create a new one, right? And it's like, okay, well, how do I like create a new one, right? And it's literally, I talk about it all the time, guys. Like, that meditation has really changed the game for me, right? And when I'm talking meditation, all I'm talking about is having a clear vision of who I want to become. I want to be calm. I want to be relaxed because one day my goal is to trade $100,000 trades, $200,000 trades, $1 million trades, right? And it's like we have to be clear, or like very, very clear with ourselves with if that's our goal, how do we get there? Right. And you're not going to get there by rewarding the chasing behavior below low of day, right? That's not going to get you there. Right. Are you going to put $1 million on this trade? Like, like no, like, so what I'm trying to do is find that person within myself and really meditate on it, and it's really helped me, right? If anybody has any questions, message me, right? It's not like lighting candles and like, humming, even though if that's what you want to do, like, you know what I mean? Like, listen, look at me, I am not the type of guy that looks like he's going to meditate, but the thing is I am willing to do pretty much anything I can to become a very wealthy trader. And I truly believe it's not the strategy. I truly believe it's your state of mind. It's consistency is a state of mind. It's a mindset, and we have to program our brains to get there. So you know, um, and every time you make a decision that reinforces that belief that's aligned with your purpose, things get very powerful, right? Because this is a level of like self mastery that you won't learn anywhere else, right? Like trading, we all know, very emotional. Like, listen, if it was up to the strategy, we would all be multi billionaires, right? But it isn't. It's a mental game, just like anything else in life, right? Like Michael Jordan, basketball, like, golfers, right? Tiger Woods. Every athlete needs a robust state of mind, like on point. Nothing phases you. Yeah, remember Tiger Woods had like 8 sex scandals going on, and he was still winning tournaments. Right? That's an animal. Right? That's like that's insane to me because that means he won't let anything pull him out of his character. Now, if I'm going to put on a losing trade that I get stomped out on by 10 cents and let that affect my character, I'm never going to see $1 million trader, right? It's just not feasible, right? So once again, being clear on the person you're trying to become is going to open up this whole new brain circuits, and it's going to help you tap into them during market condition or market hours, right? So it's like, okay, figure out who you want to become and focus on it. Think about it day and night, right? Like disciplined, right? Um, Focused, just patient, right? Like learn to love the market again. You know what I mean? Like when we all first started, we all loved the market, right? And then you get burned by it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, hopefully not as long as I did. And then then you lose that relationship with the market, right? Like it's so important to remember, guys, we're here to create money. We're here to create opportunity. We're here to make money and do well, and not just make money, but to become better people. So, like, to reach that level, you must learn and recreate a loving relationship with the market because anything other than that is going to keep you losing, right? You can't just approach the market and be extremely fearful and doubtful and indecisive and all these low frequency, low elevated emotions, right? You're not going to make it. So it's like, okay, how do I do that, right? And it's like you need to reprogram your brain. So I don't want to get too off course with it, but I'm working on a really good mini course for it because I think mindfulness is the reason why 90% of traders fail. I think it's the tunnel vision. I think it's the assumptions, right? That's why I failed for so long. So yeah, it's just really cool. Boom. Now, for
Super powerful stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Super powerful
it's
stuff.
it's
I
it,
encourage everybody to at least give it a shot. This visualization thing, like you got to give it a shot if you want to go all in. It's I can speak for myself too, and it's
yeah.
definitely helped.
Yeah, and it's like this is what Mark Douglas talks about in Trading in the Zone. He talks about energizing beliefs, de-energizing beliefs, right? Like and it's like it is it's the only way, right? We get burnt for so long, and then trading becomes so stressful, and it's like it doesn't really have to be, but Friday, man, Friday. Whew, anyone that made it out not dead on Friday, you did good. Um, like 100%. This day was very challenging in the market. Shout out to one of our members, Gregory. He wrote in the trader chat. He's like, "Dude, I'm walking away." He's like, "I don't like it. I'll be back." And literally, that one decision he made even affected me. It helped me to pull myself out of the market and just be more aware of like the madness that was going on. Like, I mean, look at this. We're getting. I mean, some candles are almost $2, like $1.50 moves on the 2 minute, back and forth, back and forth. I wanted to take OP short right here, but it didn't quite hit it. Off by a couple of cents. Happened very fast. And I really don't like chasing anything anymore, right? Like Darren just said, that desperation is this, like anytime you're chasing, you're not trading from the correct state of mind. It's like, take a step back. Um, I missed it. So what? Right. And then I had my eye here on this end of day. It seemed like we had some buyers. QQQ was telling a completely different story, um, which once again is just the way the market rumbles. QQQ's open print was holding so strong, but it wasn't. It was weird. So I avoided all this. Price came up for a clean retest right here. Took the market short, stomped out pretty much immediately. And then at that point, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit back. And it was really cool how this day played out because once again, that being objective, meaning not having tunnel vision and just like watching price action around levels is gonna be your savior. Uh, this looked appetizing to me, but it was so far away, or it was my next level was so close, so I the risk reward wasn't that good. And Spy at this exact moment was playing with open print. It looked relatively bullish, both charts, but once again, looks can be deceiving. And I like what large money did right here. Look at this massive green candle. So what they were doing here was fishing. This right here was a worm for all retail, right? This candle right here was like, oh look, we have strength. We're we're gonna rip, and you could see it got eaten up and then invalidated open print, and then that was the short play, and then this thing just really started to chop up some more. Um, and once again, this is where putting like obviously I could sit here right now and go, okay, guys, go short and stay in until 11, 411, right? But that isn't going to do anything, right? What I like to do is put my hard stop in, and until I earn the reason to take it out, I just hold it. I just hold it. There's, price rips down, comes back up. There's no reason to get out of this trade. Bearish structures full, and that's where it's like, okay, understanding the conditions of the market and in market structure is gonna keep you in your trade so much longer. Because if we get this, move to the downside, it only makes sense to expect a pullback to 413.92, right? So you got to learn to be like, okay, yeah, we did just make a dollar move, but I mean, potentially, it's not just going to sell off immediately down to previous day low. It's just not going to happen. I mean, very rarely does it happen. So we must prepare ourselves mentally to be ready for this, these pullbacks. So price comes up, pulls back. The 5 minute does wonders for me, and obviously higher time frames in these scenarios, because when price looks like this, on the 5 minute, it just looks way more bearish than, like, 2 minute could look. So use these higher time frames. I mean, this really helped me. I was very close to stopping out multiple times, but it never ripped up to my stop out, right? So my stop out ended up being 413.92. So I'm like, until that hits, right, or a little above it, like I'm just accepting the fact that I'm staying in this, right? And then once you can really accept that a fact, it's like, okay, let's just let this go, right? I went to the gym, did, doing anything to pull my mind out of the tunnel, right? And then, I mean, right here, we sold off right below end of day and then pretty much sucked right back up. I ended up stomping out of this trade right here. Because it hit, quote unquote, hit my target. So I found a reason to get out. But if you did get out right here, I respect it, because this did invalidate end of day, and the amount of chop this day had, I wouldn't really, you know, blame you. But at that same time, we then seen on QQQ making a beautiful setup off, once again, open print, open print. Buyers showed up pretty much all day. Once this got invalidated on the 2 minute, you can see a pretty nice retest. I took the market short right here on that candle. Once again, HVT pattern, stop above bearish structure, and then we got a beautiful sell off. So it's pretty.
I'll go through a losing trade I made on Friday. So I actually placed my trade on SPY, but I was using QQQ to validate my analysis. So so I was looking at the inverse head and shoulders, and I basically saw buying around previous day low and end of day. So that made me bullish. And I saw this ascending neckline for a head and shoulders, because I know that I don't love all head and shoulders, but the ones I do love are the ones that have an ascending neckline,
Oh
because
yeah, right here.
that increases, that shows that buyers are stronger on the right shoulder area. And I had pre-market low as my right shoulder, which happened to be 413.05 on SPY, and that's where I went long, and basically I got stopped out pretty short. It just the buying never really materialized. I had my hard stop in, and I just let myself stop out at right around 12:14. But the other thing that I saw on QQQ was, we had this consolidation in the beginning of the day, right around 347.29 to 346.40. Uh, and once we broke above it, we came down to retest that
Yes, I
consolidation,
think that was pre-market
and
high too for Qs.
it was exactly
Yep.
pre-market high, and that lined up with my right shoulder area on SPY, and so that, in my mind, was giving me more confirmation to take it long, and that's what I did. But I got stopped out. So that was my analysis. I was targeting previous day high on SPY, yeah, on SPY and QQQ, and that's what happened. But basically, yeah, I'm
Good. Yeah.
happy with the trade. I would do it again. The only thing that I wasn't really aware of was that high of day on SPY was 414.48, and like you said, we saw that little fishing candle, that
Yeah.
green candle,
Yeah.
trying to make everybody think that we were super super bullish when we hadn't even broken high of day,
Yeah.
and we broke it by
Couple
four whole
cents.
cents,
Yeah.
and then we saw a huge red candle. So I kind
Yeah.
of missed I kind of missed reading that. And had I read that, I would have been much less likely to go for this inverse head and shoulders. But
Yeah.
you live to trade another
Yeah.
day, and
Yeah.
that's the only trade I made that day.
Anyone that thinks they can get out of this market without making a loser is naive. It's gonna happen, and and I'm not gonna lie. When I was short and I was watching cues, and this is, I tend to try not to, but there is a level of awareness you need to have on both ETFs sometimes. But I was like, oh, cues is literally defending previous or pre-market high. I was like, so I was once again, I was like, I'm willing to hold the pullback here. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I really think that the way that we speak about price action can affect our own perception of it. So this day, I remember putting in the Discord, SPY and QQQ are so different today,
yeah,
and they were, and maybe I was stating the obvious, but I just looking back, I was frustrated that I wasn't able to read what was happening, and in a way, I felt like I spoke something into existence where I
yeah,
didn't really
yeah,
perceive it for what it was. So
yep,
going forward, I want to be aware that even the way that I speak about what's happening can affect my own perception
uh,
of it. So
100%,
so
hundred percent.
I think it's super important that we are
Or
aware of how we talk about price action
yeah,
because I
hundred
really
percent.
think that speaking things into existence is a real thing in this market.
Well, it's you said it perfect. When you speak, it's like when you go buy a brand new car, right? Say you bought a yellow punch bug. You're gonna start seeing them everywhere, right? It's happened with every car I ever bought. With any car I buy, I see them everywhere. And it's like when you highlight anything, whether good or bad, right? This is why visualization is so important. When you create something, right, in your mind or and you speak it, you give it life, you give it energy, you give it significance, no matter what. Now, I mean, words, you guys know how I feel about it. It's extremely important. And it was different, right? And the important thing though is to be like, okay, if they're different, I'm only going to focus on maybe one and not
Yeah.
not mix them, right? Or
Like, how do I use that information to be better?
benefit.
Not use it as
Yes.
an excuse to say
Exactly.
this is why it's hard. Say, okay, all right, they're
Yes.
different. So how do I have to
Yes.
adjust my perception to
Yes.
now account for this new information that I have observed in the market?
Yes, exactly. And it's definitely challenging. And but once again, market your perception of it is everything. And that's why like the easier, the more simple. That's how I've been trying to keep it. This week was definitely challenging and we made it out on top. Monday was a really cool day as well. Pre-market low.
Oh, we can talk about this.
Yeah, yeah, let's break down Monday real quick. So Monday was, let me just figure out real quick. So, oh yeah, see, we've been seeing these a lot. So, first thing I want to highlight is this Monday.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, yeah. So the first thing I want to highlight here is this significant level over here at 420 area. So once again, right, the break and retest on larger time frames, right? It's the 1 hour. This is what we call support or demand, and then price comes into it and breaks it. So the way I'm looking at this is we just broke 420. I'm looking for low side targets of like 418 and probably lower. Um, so now I'm going, okay, if and when we can get a retest at this level, uh, this 420 level, right? I'm gonna be looking for a short play to the downside, right? So I did not take this setup once again using open print, letting it form structure and then be invalidated has been more beneficial for me than rushing and taking this setup. Yes, this would have been a great trade. I didn't take it because I would rather get this trade to the upside, right? Like I would rather let someone show up here and then let that person, whether buyer or seller, get invalidated, right? So or defended, right? I like to see the battle at open print. It's been super beneficial for me. I mean, this was perfect to a T. Look at come right up to 420 and just and reject, right? So that was key. If you took this trade, it was a great trade. Right to pre-market low, but you have to take profits on some of these trades quick because, I mean, we got no retest down here. Um, quick little false breakout, but and once again, let that false breakout tell you something. Like I'm I try to be so aware of what's happening where if we fall below pre-market low and close below it, that's usually very bearish, right? But look at the next candle, right? The next candle literally invalidated the one in front of it, meaning it closed above it, which is, usually somewhat bullish. And then price invalidates the open right here. And now once again using that 1 hour time frame and being like, so you guys see how we just closed below pre-market low and then it was a false breakout? I'm literally thinking the same exact thing when hold on, let me, I'm thinking the same exact thing here when we, hold on. I mean, we're going so far back, it's hard to, oh, this was it right here. Okay. So I'm using the same like mentality going, hey, we just broke below 420 and now buyers are invalidating that level. That's painting very like super strong bullish conditions. And then I still didn't get in the trade until we got this retest, right? And this really wasn't a retest of anything other than a pre-market level, right? But once again, that's all you really need. You just need a general understanding of who's in control of the market. Went long here. First target was pre-market high, which we kind of rallied right through, and then a massive move to the upside. Uh, Beautiful day.
Yeah, I think it was so. There's a pre-market level back on Friday, October 6th. A pre-market level at 419.73, which was pretty dang close to that retest that happened in the morning. That happened, that you were just talking
Yeah.
about, 10:36. That's where I took it. But yeah, that was a beautiful trade on Monday. But honestly, everybody should look to just go recap what happens on Monday morning around pre-market low. The probability of pre-market low or pre-market high or pre-market low acting as a level for buyers on Monday is ridiculously high. I think it's like around 80%
Is it really?
probability that buyers will show up at either of those two levels. So if they do, take that into consideration. It definitely swayed the probabilities for me on this day. That's one of the reasons why I went long. And I did not take it at pre-market low. I waited for that retest to double verify that this wasn't a fake out,
Yeah.
and then I went long at that
Yeah.
420 level. A beautiful trade.
Yeah. That
But
was.
I love pre-market low or any pre-market level on a Monday for that matter. Yeah, if you
Well,
want to build that confidence on a Monday, just go look at the probability that it's been respected on SPY and QQQ, and I'm pretty sure it will change your mind.
well, and what's crazy is look at Q's over here, right? QQQ, because I also took a long on Q's this day for a monster trade. And
Oh my gosh!
look at this right here. This was a perfect double bottom on Q's, and not only that, I mean Q's ended up ripping like is it like $6. So I mean, real quick, like we had upside targets, pre-market high, but then once again, my main goal every day is to capture these imbalances. And I mean, real quick before we finish up, we got just always use your previous price targets, dude. Like this has been detrimental for me. Just use on the 1 hour, find levels that you're expecting price to gravitate to. And remember, your critical levels have a lot of volume. So price is going to tend to gravitate to these levels given the conditions align with your targets, right? So it's like, I mean, dude, this thing just rallied, kept rallying, and then once we blew above this level, we ripped right into that 359. And I should have got out on one of these candles. I ended up holding a little longer than I wanted to, but once again, this was a very good day, good trade. I mean, look at pre-market low on Qs as well. That's crazy. I'm gonna look into that, Darren. I've never looked at that.
Yeah, yeah, pre-market low on Mondays is really high, and it's interesting because I don't often latch onto things like that because I like to stay in a mode of perception. But at the end of the day, our job is to play a game of probabilities, and if there's something that happens in a higher probability, we like to stack them in our favor, and so that's something we can use. But I don't like to. In general, I don't like to run that as a rule. But
Yeah, yeah.
obviously, obviously, it's something
Just
you
keep an
can
eye
use
on
to
it.
convince
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
It's never gonna work if you just believe me, because then you're never gonna hold it to its extent.
Yeah.
Like I use it because I researched it and I'm convicted in it, but it's never gonna work for you unless you build that conviction in yourself. And if you don't believe in it, then that's perfectly fine, and then definitely don't use it because at the end of the day, it's your perception that matters. At the end of the day, if your perception is not there, you will never hold a trade to its full target. And yeah, that's basically how it goes.
Yeah. Really good week though. I'm you know, going forward, let's just keep this up, guys. Keep focused, stay focused. I hope everybody has a very good weekend. I gotta hop off, go do some daddy daughter stuff. So I hope everybody has a phenomenal weekend. Message me, message Darren, anyone, anything, and I will see you guys Monday.
Sounds good. Have a good weekend, everyone.